Planned Parenthood dice que se preocupa por nosotros, por nuestra salud, por proteger nuestros cuerpos y nuestros derechos. Dicen que proveen muchos servicios para la salud de la mujer, desde anticoncepción hasta mastografías, incluso asesoramiento. ¿Pero qué dicen sus propios números sobre ellos? Los números dicen que Planned Parenthood es un gran negocio que vende una cosa, abortos, y necesitan vender tantos como puedan. Así que nos convierten en clientes fieles. Así es como generan clientes. Empiezan por promover la promiscuidad en programas para jóvenes, repartiendo condones gratuitos y logrando engancharlos en el sexo. Al vendernos anticoncepción de baja calidad, se aseguran de que seamos clientes para el tratamiento de enfermedades de transmisión sexual y comprar pruebas de embarazo. Según reportes de consumo, Planned Parenthood produce los condones de peor calidad de todas las marcas probadas. Esto significa que fallarán más que cualquier otro condón. Si queremos evitar utilizar condones defectuosos, la alternativa que ofrecen es anticoncepción hormonal. El problema es que estos anticonceptivos son muy dañinos para nuestro organismo. La Organización Mundial de la Salud los cataloga como cancerígenos de tipo 1, que los coloca en la misma categoría que cigarros y asbesto. Entonces, ¿qué pasa si después de usar sus anticonceptivos defectuosos inevitablemente se produce un embarazo? Planned Parenthood sabe que recurriremos a ellos. Es por eso que el 79% de sus sucursales están a menos de 8 kilómetros de distancia de las universidades de Estados Unidos, porque los universitarios son una enorme cartera de clientes para ellos. Cuando llegamos con un embarazo, ofrecen asesoramiento, que de acuerdo a antiguos empleados de Planned Parenthood, no es asesoría de ningún tipo. Estos ex empleados nos cuentan que los afiliados a Planned Parenthood llevan un conteo de abortos. Es por ello que por cada adopción, ellos venden 145 abortos. Para alcanzar el número de abortos deseado, su equipo de ventas promueve el aborto y se alejan de la idea de paternidad y adopción. Después de todo, el aborto es el producto de Planned Parenthood. 92% de sus servicios prenatales son abortos, y eso les trae ganancias. En promedio, Planned Parenthood genera $150,000 millones de los cerca de los 334,000 abortos que realiza cada año. Esto significa que en promedio cada cuerpo humano vale $451 para ellos. Este dinero lo agregan al que reciben del gobierno federal de Estados Unidos, provenientes de mujeres con problemas. En un solo año, Planned Parenthood gana hasta $700 millones. Hay muchas organizaciones que se preocupan por nosotros. Clínicas locales y centros de embarazo que pueden ayudar de verdad. Ellos nos hablarán de opciones reales y ayudarnos a hacer lo que es mejor para nosotros, no su letra pequeña. Porque Planned Parenthood no se preocupa por nosotros, se preocupa por vender su producto. No les importan nuestros derechos ni la verdadera libertad de decisión. Tenemos que admitirlo. Planned Parenthood se trata de hacer abortos, sea como sea.
What we've been quoting is $50 per specimen. I think some people are doing more, some slightly less.
50 was like 12 years ago.
What would you expect for intact tissue? What sort of compensation? What sort of...
Well, why don't you start by telling me what you're used to paying? In negotiations, the person who throws up the figure first has got a loss, right? So, I want a Lamborghini. I thought I want a Lamborghini.
Okay, we kind of lost it because we were talking to Eleanor, but then I Robert Stark is with Biomed. Very nice to meet you. Pasadena.
And we're in LA. We had a deal with the guys who were in
Novogenic.
Yeah. Novogenic.
Yeah. The problem we're having is that the California affiliates are all already partnered up with somebody.
Well, Pasadena's not actually.
Oh, Pasadena's not.
You have I don't. What kind of volume do you do?
How far in the station do you go?
16 weeks.
To 16.
We only do 20 cases a week, so it's not as big.
So that's the. I mean.
Hey, no, I'm not waiting.
Do you have a card on you? Because okay, let me give you a little blank. Because I didn't?
No.
Oh well, I would like your card as well.
What kind of volume do you need and what your station rate is? What kind of volume do you need and what your station rate is?
Well, really, it's 24 weeks. It's up to most of the requests are actually like 16 weeks and above. So you're kind of like right on the edge there, but I think it would be worth it to make the connection, and this way, we can start the conversation, and if we can have like a one-off that would do some of the things. Yeah.
You have to make sure that your staff who are on site,
right.
Whatever background check, whatever.
Right.
You have to pay a little money to use the space.
Right. Yeah. What do you have any idea ballpark what we'd be talking about in terms of compensation? Yeah, because most people now seem to be doing per specimen, and so what we sorry what? What we've been quoting is $50 per specimen. I think some people are doing more, some slightly less.
50 was like 12 years ago. 50 was like 12 years ago.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, so what we like about per specimen is that way we're not paying for material that we can't use, So if we can get a liver, a lung, and
you
a
would
brain.
show up to do this.
Exactly. We would send a tech. We can get a liver, a lung, and
you
a
would
brain.
show up to do this.
Exactly. We would send a tech. Yeah, we would send a tech in to do that. Yeah. Novogenics, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Matter how I feel about it coming out in tech, but I got to worry about my staff and people's feelings about it coming out looking like a baby.
Is there any standard procedure for verifying signs of life?
Well, the thing is,
that doesn't go in a chart.
I mean, the key is you need to pay attention to who's in the room, right?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deborah Nucatola. I'm the Senior Director of Medical Services for Planned Parenthood Federation of America.
A lot of people want exact parts these days because they're looking for specific notes. I was like, wow, I didn't even know. Good for them.
And on behalf of all of us at Planned Parenthood Federation of America and our partners at Society of Family Planning, I'd like to welcome you to the North American Forum on Family Planning, as well as the George Tiller Memorial Networking Reception. Now, networking reception. Those of you who have seen me in the last hour have seen that I basically spend this reception running around introducing people to other people, and that's exactly why this meeting was created.
Nice to meet you.
I have no more anyone in Arizona.
Wow. This is exactly why I brought you in. You just finished over?
Robert Sarkis with Biomass Procurement Services.
Okay.
We do tissue collections.
Oh, sweet.
Good to meet
And they're looking for Arizona as an area where they might
Right.
be able to
We're based out of the Los Angeles area, like Norwalk, Long Beach, that kind of area.
Okay.
So Devin mentioned you as well as the Planned Parenthood affiliate in Arizona, as well as good connections to make.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are
It's been on my mind because I used to work at Planned Parenthood Los Angeles, and we used to have
Novogenics, I think, is the one that comes in, to do it there.
Yeah.
So you have experience with providing material for purposes. Yeah.
Due to some things going on at Planned Parenthood, I get a lot of referrals from Planned Parenthood, so I used to be medical director at Planned Parenthood Arizona. That's how I ended up in Arizona.
Okay.
Because I was with Planned Parenthood Los Angeles, and also I was the head of academic position at USC. That's how I know Deb Nucatola, because he trained me as a fellow. See, that's how I know Deb Nucatola, because he trained me.
It's good to know that someone is kind of consistently going up to 20 to 24 weeks, because especially when someone wants neural tissue, they're wanting, they want fetal brain, they want both hemispheres, and for whatever reason, like the sweet spot tends to be like 18 to 22 weeks.
Okay. Well, I go up to 24 weeks. There is a practice that kind of preferentially gets the anomaly referrals.
Right. No, we want healthy tissue. Yeah, healthy, informative.
The most of the patients that come to me are elective. They present themselves.
And you go electively up to 24 weeks. Okay.
This week coming up, I have a 15-weeker on Tuesday so far, and I have a 20-weeker starting on Thursday so far.
Obviously, some of the parameters that we're working with, then tissue needs to be pretty much, pretty intact, because the more physically traumatized it gets, the more the stem cells get kind of mashed up and aren't available for collection.
Now the thing is, I don't do induction, so like my technique is a disarticulation technique. So there would have, we'd have to kind of talk about like exactly what it is that you're needing.
Right.
Because
breech position is great. We'll just throw that out there.
Part of the issue is it's not a matter of how I feel about it coming out intact, but I got to worry about my staff and people's feelings about it coming out looking like a baby. It's not a matter of how I feel about it coming out intact, but I got to worry about my staff and people's feelings about it coming out looking like a baby.
A lot of variables.
So I don't. So yeah, that becomes an issue.
Yeah, that's interesting. That there's a kind of an issue with the staff to have to kind of protect their comfort level. That's so interesting. I mean, do you ever find yourself in a situation where like it would be easier if this case kind of wants to come out intact, but you are kind of like you have to make sure it doesn't, so the staff doesn't freak out? Or
that's one, and then another issue is Arizona is so conservative. I just don't even want to send a 4-feeder for cremation or any of that.
Right.
We have the people who do our paperwork for the fetal death certificate. They email us calling them baby this, baby that, baby so and so, and I'm like, that's creepy. They email us calling them baby this, baby that, baby so and so, and I'm like, that's creepy.
You know your environment. That's doing so well.
It's creepy. So I mean, there are a lot of variables that come into play, and then that really creepy because in Arizona, if the fetus comes out with any signs of life, we're supposed to transport it.
At any gestational age?
Any gestational age.
Is there any standard procedure for verifying signs of life?
Well, the thing is,
that doesn't go in a chart.
I mean, the key is you need to pick who's in the room, right? The key is you need to pick who's in the room, right? And because the thing is, the law states if we're doing maneuvers after the fact to try to cause demise. So it's really tricky.
It's really hard to navigate that bad.
It's really tricky. So
when does it start? What stage does it start getting really difficult? Like it is like a workout.
20 weeks.
At 20, that's when it becomes difficult.
It can get difficult.
Wow.
Now, ideally, you want to have the the best amount of dilation possible. So I think again, it really kind of comes to in someone who's choosing to participate, we might just take a little extra time, to make sure that we have the dilation, and so a little more time on the front end for a quick easier procedure on the back end. If I'm not going to be doing disarticulation, which I would normally do, so. Which makes it a lot easier because, but the thing is, there still has to be some decompression of the calvarium before it come out. So.
Interesting. Because Deb had mentioned to me that if you're there's dilation that happens as the case goes on, if you're extracting from breech, and then at the end that if there's, you do it enough, and so then the calvarium can come out intact.
So if you do it starting from the breech presentation, there's dilation that happens as the case goes on, and often the last can evacuate and impact the calvarium.
For the most part, we're going to start the procedure before we get to that point. So it's really like, in order to get you an intact calvarium, the patient's really going to have to go into labor.
So it's going to have to be essentially a D&E, or essentially an induction.
Yeah. Because generally, especially in a breech presentation, everything's going to come out and the head's going to get trapped. That's usually what's going to happen. So generally, then we just take forceps and, do the rest. So, pretty good. I mean, my market share of the abortion services, it continues to increase. So
Interesting.
it is very interesting to see how it all plays out.
And you go luckily up to 24 weeks. Okay.
It's not a matter of how I feel about it coming out in 10, but I got to worry about my staff and people's feelings about it coming out looking like a baby.